Oh wait, why can't I hear it?
By
Oh,
far, I would say. And we're doing tremendous things. Our country is doing very well. You saw the numbers that got released today, yesterday. Deficits cut way, way, way back at levels that nobody's ever seen before, setting records. And the numbers coming into our country are unprecedented. And we're doing really well. We had a situation 3 days ago with Venezuela.
oh, he's talking
And
about
we're getting
Venezuela.
along extremely well with the people of Venezuela, both the people and the people that are running Venezuela. I just want to thank our military. What they've done is incredible. That was considered unprecedented, to go into a military fort with thousands of soldiers and others, and to come in with 152 planes going every which
Is this
way,
the Maduro line?
and very rapid speeds and helicopters, and to come out with no deaths and the loss of no equipment. It was pretty amazing. Nobody's seen anything like it. I was called by the leaders of numerous countries. I won't go into which ones, but the biggest and the strongest.
biggest.
And they said that was very impressive. They were all impressed. But today I'm delighted to welcome almost 24 of the biggest and most respected oil and gas executives in the world to the White House. It's an honor to be with them. We have many others that were not able to get in. I said if we had a ballroom, we'd have over 1,000 people. Everybody wanted. I never knew your industry was that big. I never knew you had that many people in your industry. But here we are. And in fact, if you look, come to think of it,
You can't be sure about anything, Dimitri, ever.
I got to look at this myself.
Is it snow he's talking about?
What a view. This is the door to the ballroom.
There's no ballroom strike.
Well, what did you have? Unusual time to look, but I figure we might as well do it. If the fake news would like to go back and take a look, you can. But
Oh,
you see
fake
a very
news.
big foundation that's moving. We're ahead of schedule in the ballroom and under budget. It's going to be, I don't think
Under
there'll be anything
budget.
like it in the world.
No,
actually.
this is
It
same
should be
speed as AP.
the best we went from. This is
I'm
as
using
you know,
White
our
House.
biggest room, which would seat 100 for dinner, maybe, if you're lucky, if you're nice and tight.
You're definitely not safe
And
now.
the
I'm
ballroom
surprised
will
how much
seat
it's
many,
gone down.
And it'll
I
also
would
take
never
care
buy
of the
Maduro, yes,
inauguration
though.
with bulletproof glass, drone-proof ceilings and everything else,
Drone?
unfortunately, that today you need.
Wow.
So we're going
Drones
to
out of left
discuss how
field.
these great American companies can help rapidly rebuild Venezuela's dilapidated oil industry and bring millions of barrels of oil production to benefit the United States, the people of Venezuela, and the entire world. And yesterday, the number is 30 million barrels. I can't even, is that a correct number? 30 million barrels
30
hear that,
million
Peter?
barrels.
of oil was given to
Unbelievable.
us by Venezuela. That's a lot of oil. It's about $4 billion worth, and it's on its way to the United States.
How does
right now.
trillion not hit here?
And we want to thank Venezuela for that. And we're working very well with them, obviously, or they wouldn't have been so generous. But they respect us again. They didn't respect us at all before. So that's money that goes to the United States. Some will go to Venezuela, and some will go to the oil
This has to be
companies, but
trillion.
not that, because that's already been extracted.
Has to be trillion.
So when you're not getting any of that, but when you start extracting, you'll get.
Oh man, audio cutting out.
But it's tremendous reserves, among the biggest in the world. Some people say it is the biggest in the world. And we're going to be working with Venezuela.
what did
we're
we
going to
miss?
be making the decision as to which oil companies are going to go in, that we're going to allow to go in. Going to cut a deal with the companies. We'll probably do that today or very shortly thereafter with Chris and Doug. And we're dealing
Yeah.
with the country, so we're empowered to make that deal. And you'll have total safety, total security. One of the reasons you couldn't go in is you had no guarantees, you had no security, but now you have total security. It's a whole different Venezuela, and Venezuela is going to be very successful. And the people of the United States are going to be big beneficiaries, because we're going to be extracting
Hottest has kind
know,
of jumped up,
numbers
interestingly.
of, in terms of oil, like few people have ever seen actually. So you're dealing with us directly. You're not dealing with Venezuela.
Wow.
We don't want you
Doesn't
to deal
say
with
trillions
Venezuela.
there.
Let me thank Vice President J.D. Vance, who's doing a
There's
fantastic
Vance.
job.
Rubio.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, likewise a fantastic job. I have good people. I like them better than my first group. But we had a great, despite that, we had a great first term. We had some great people there too, by the way. But we had a great first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in the first term, but this is blowing it away.
Oh, man.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Everyone's been shocked by the numbers, 5.4% GDP. And that's despite the fact that we were badly hurt by the Democrat shutdown, of which they'd like to see if they could shut it down again. Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, who's fantastic. Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright, recommended by Doug as being the greatest oil man anywhere in the world, because I wanted Doug for that job, energy. And
Curious
Doug
if
said,
people...
no, sir, there's a man named
Wow,
Chris
energy
Wright. I
should have
said,
just been a
"Who the
bond
hell
as soon
is
as this
Chris
was
Wright?"
live.
He said he's the most talented oil man
I wonder
anywhere in the world.
how likely I
doubt
am
you
to
can
get filled
him,
on
'cause
bonds.
Typically, oil
I
men
doubt
make
it.
a
I
lot
just
of
don't
money,
normally bond
and
Trump
women.
speeches.
They make a lot of money, but Chris came. You took one of the greatest salary cuts probably in history, Chris, right? But he's a fantastic person, loves our country, and many other important members of this team. And I want to thank them for their efforts. As you know, last week, the United States Armed Forces performed one of the most spectacular military operations
Probably going to
in
be
American
hottest.
history.
Or not hottest, I mean
Apprehending
Maduro.
the outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro for his crimes against the
There it
United
is.
States, crimes for which he has now been indicted and is in federal court awaiting trial. And he killed many people, millions of people, actually, and allowed jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums, drug dealers, drug addicts to pour into our country totally unchecked because of Sleepy Joe Biden's policy of open borders, the stupidest thing I've ever seen. We're getting them
Sleepy
all out.
Joe, mental institution.
The departure of Maduro makes it possible an incredible future for both nations, Venezuela and the United States, in which we will more closely integrate the economies
Well, it
of
took a
two
while,
major
but it had to
energy
hit.
powers in the Western Hemisphere. Energy coming out of Venezuela was very small. One of the things the United States gets out of this will be even lower energy prices. We have people now getting gasoline for $1.99, $1.96, $1.95, $1.92 yesterday, somebody. And it used to be $3.50, $4, $5 a gallon. Think of that, $1.99. Decades ago, the United States built Venezuela's oil industry at tremendous expense with American skill, technology, know-how, and dollars. But those assets were stolen from us, and we had presidents who did nothing about it. This president is much different than your other presidents.
You were
They
right,
did nothing
Antilco.
about it. They stole it. Some of the people in this room were a little bit younger when that happened, but not that much younger. It wasn't that long ago. But they stole our assets like we
They
were babies.
stole our assets
And
like
the
we
United
were
States did
babies.
absolutely nothing about it. So now we're doing everything about it. Now we're doing 500% about it. But it's
500%.
a long time after the act took place. So they stole from us, and it was taken by socialists and communists at the time, and Venezuela was going bad, really bad.
Oh,
And
man,
as much
somebody already
oil as
got...
they have, they're producing
Wow.
almost nothing, which is just a system.
That's so fast to
So
bond the
we're
weekly.
really,
Somebody
if
is
you
like
look at it, we're taking back what was taken from us. They took our
crazy.
oil industry. We built that entire oil industry. Started a long time ago.
Could
but
be
they took it,
hottest.
and they were very ungracious to this country, but now they're being very nice. American companies will have the opportunity to rebuild Venezuela's rotting energy infrastructure
See
and
if people are
eventually increase
still
oil
buying
production to
hottest,
levels
yes.
never ever seen before. When you add Venezuela and the United States together, we have 55% of the oil in the world. The United States is number one. We have them drilling. Drill,
Oh,
baby, drill. Was
oh, there it
my
is.
Campaign.
I
And
knew that
Doug
was-
and
yeah.
Chris, I think we're setting records on drilling right now. And taking oil
Records.
without Venezuela. That's how we're getting the oil prices down. The plan is for them to spend, meaning our
Is this you,
giant
Bip-Bop,
oil
getting these, by the
companies
way?
will be spending at least $100 billion of their money, not the government's money. They don't need government money. But they need government protection and need government security that when they spend all this money, it's going to be there so they get their money back and make a very nice return. The plan is for them to spend at least $100 billion to rebuild
Nice,
the
Bip-Bop.
capacity and the infrastructure necessary. Venezuela has also agreed that the United States will immediately begin refining and selling up to 50 million barrels of Venezuelan crude oil, which will continue indefinitely. We're all set to do it. We have the refining capacity. It was actually based very much on
Is
the
this going to be pipeline?
Venezuelan oil, which is a heavy oil, very good oil, great oil. It's fantastic for certain things like asphalt roads, best there is in the world for asphalt roads and other things. All of the companies here today are going to be treasured partners in bringing the nation of Venezuela back to life, restoring its economy, and generating great wealth for their companies and for their people, and also great wealth for the American people, and tremendous wealth for the companies that
He's
are
gotta
going
say
in.
trillion.
The companies that are going in, and if you don't want to go in, just let me know, because I got 25
Has
people
to
that
say
aren't here
trillion.
today that are willing to take your place. So I just want to thank, these are people that I either know or I know of by reading lots of business magazines and journals and papers. These are the greatest oil people anywhere in the world. Harold Hamm, I see, is here. Harold, you know, there's a story about Harold Hamm that he can look at a piece of land, put a straw into the land, and oil pours out. Is that true about you? Whereas some of you guys have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to find that oil. So we can't let that story be true. But they say Harold puts a straw into the land, and oil comes gushing
Let's see.
out.
After he
so
talks,
you're not a big R&D
I think he's
person,
going
are
to
you, huh?
hand it off to other people.
He's called Instinct for Oil. Now, he's got other problems, but we won't talk about those problems. But he's been a great supporter of mine for a long time, haven't you, Harold? So congratulations. But we have, and I think Harold would agree, we have the greatest oil men and women anywhere
Oil
in the world
men
sitting in
and
this room
women.
right now. And we have a lot of people that will be back to see us sometime next week. We're going to have another meeting for another group. But we're going to do this very quickly. We can have this done almost immediately. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to invite Vice President Vance to say a few words, followed by Secretaries Rubio, Burgum, and Wright. And then we'll have a few words from representatives that are here and to discuss their ideas, a couple of them. We have Chevron, which has been, where's Chevron? Where are you?
Where is
Oh, I
Chevron?
thought you'd have a better location. You were the only one that was there for all that. I used to call you and say, what the hell is going on with Venezuela? He stuck it out. I don't know if you made money or not, but you stuck it out. I got to give you a lot of credit for that. Mark Nelson, thank you very much. Exxon CEO Darren Woods. Darren, thank you very much. How's Exxon doing? Okay? They'll do a lot better now, won't they, huh?
Oil companies.
Exxon's been amazing. It's
Oil
been an
companies used to be
amazing
dead. Now they are
company.
the hottest
and
companies in the
ConocoPhillips
world.
CEO Ryan Lance, thank you very much. So you guys could say something, and then we'll take some questions from the press. And if anybody else would like to speak, we'll have you speak. We have all the time in the world. This is a big subject. This is massive wealth, and more importantly than massive
gonna
wealth,
be
it
press.
leads to lower taxes and a lot of jobs for Americans and for Venezuelans, but for Americans in this case. And I just, again, appreciate you all being here. And I'd like to ask JD to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to everybody for being here. You know, as a Marine Corps veteran for my entire lifetime, presidents, and let's be honest, they were
See if we can
Democrats
get
and
some
Republicans,
cheap shares.
would send the American military to far-off places. They would get us involved in these endless quagmires. They would lose hundreds or thousands of American lives, and the American people would get nothing out of these misadventures. And now you have an American president who's empowered the American military to stop the flow of drugs into our country and to ensure that we, as opposed to our adversaries, control one of the great energy reserves that exist anywhere in the entire world. And he did it without losing a single American life in the process. It was an amazing operation. It's going to make our country richer. It's going to make our
We used to
country
be
more
a
powerful.
dead
It's
country.
going to make our country safer, and it's going to lead to the decline, the further decline of drug overdose deaths in the United States of America. An amazing thing, and I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it an even bigger and better operation for the American people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Marco?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I think this is a reminder that everything this president does, everything President Trump does is with the American people in mind. It was not in the national interest or national security of the United States and of our people to have in our own hemisphere a country, not just with vast energy reserves, but controlled by an indicted narco trafficker who flooded our country with illegal immigration, including drug gang members, openly cooperated with drug gangs, and by the way, stole the wealth of that country to fund a repressive regime and also benefit adversaries such as Iran. All of that is now changing. As part of this process, the first phase, of course, is the phase we're in now, which is the stabilization phase. We do not want to see destabilization in the country. We're working very cooperatively with the interim authorities there to provide a market for the sale of the wealth of Venezuela in such a way that benefits the people, both of the United States, but also the people of Venezuela. And as a reminder to everyone, the President announced this just 2 days ago, every penny, everything they buy with the money that they're making from the oil now, Mr. President, will be bought from America. And that includes everything
From
equipment
America.
for the oil industry, to food, to medicine, and everything in between. The second will be a phase of recovery, and then some of these phases will interlap, and that is to have a normal economy again where the money goes to the benefit of people.
All right,
not the
we got a
benefit
ton of bids set up.
Our adversaries or the
See what
benefit
happens.
of elements in that country
See if we get
and
any
around
fills.
the world that are against our interests. At the same time, as a process of reconciliation has to happen.
I'll be ready to
internally
pull.
among the different sectors of society and politics and the like. And finally,
Look
the
at
third
these
phase,
bids.
which is the
We got
most
those
important
bids
of the
up.
three, is when the country
Look at
fully
that.
transitions into a normal country that we have
I'm not
strong
bidding Pete.
economic and diplomatic and relations with, that is friendly towards the United States,
Let's
that's
get
not
some
a foothold
fills.
for our adversaries, that serves our interests, but also the interests of the people. It'll be a country that is wealthy, a country that is prosperous for the people, not for a handful of criminals, but also a country that is supportive of our interests in the region. and throughout
Until
the world.
it used to
And
be
we thank you,
dead.
Mr. President,
Now
and the team you've
it's the
assembled that has
hottest.
brought us to this point. A lot of work remains, important work, but this is historic.
Okay. Thank you very much. Doug?
Trump seems pretty on point
Well,
today.
Mr. President,
Maybe
I
because he
wanna
hasn't been
thank
staying
you
up as
for
later
your
doing like crazy stuff.
leadership, not just as president, but as commander-in-chief. The boldness, the execution, the breathtakingly precise work that you've delivered both in Iran back in June and here has changed the field for the whole world. And you always ran about the idea of peace and prosperity. And in Venezuela, as you know, this
What do
is
you
a
guys think?
playground
Should Doug
for every
Burgum have
bad
been the
actor in
VP
world.
pick? It was between
We
him
had
and
Russians,
Vance towards the
Iran,
end.
terror groups, all of them profiting from this criminal organization that was pretending to run the country. That makes America safer. You've secured the border, we're stopping the flow of drugs, and now with the normalization of relationships on an economic basis, it's going to mean tremendously for the prosperity of the American people. So I just want to say again, congratulations to you and to the entire leadership team. It's been an amazing, historic week. On the
Vance
scale of
Rubio,
things that we haven't
2028
seen,
ticket?
perhaps for 125 years. in
I would
terms of the
much
US,
rather have Rubio
exerting
top of
its
the ticket.
influence over Latin
I think
America
Rubio's
in a way that's gonna
pretty
make a
intelligent.
change for generations. And on behalf of all the oil executives that are here today, Chris and I want to say
Chad
thank you to
Newsom
all of
with
you.
sub-5 Vance.
It's your technology, your innovation that has put America in the place where today we are the most energy dominant country in the world, and that position is what's
He already
allowed us
said
to
drill,
take,
baby, drill.
the action that we're
Glover?
taking with statecraft, with military action. None of that would happen if we were dependent on everybody else for energy. So you're a big part of the reason that we're able to move the way we are today, and we're grateful that you're here to be part of the solution going forward.
Thank you, Doug, and you are doing a fantastic job, and we appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it. They know who's doing well. Chris Wright?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, what we've seen in the last week is leadership matters and credibility matters. Venezuelan oil has been sanctioned for many years, and the oil just flew, those sanctions were not enforced. That oil just floated out to trafficked by bad actors of the world. The resources weren't gone to a central place. The corruption and decline of Venezuela has been a crisis for the people of Venezuela, and as Secretary Rubio said, massive spillover effects in the United States. in crime, in drugs, in kidnappings, and in taking a huge resource base and making it not exploited, not developed. The whole world is a poorer, less opportunity-rich place because of that. When you have materials underground, they've been underground for 1 million years. That does not make them a resource. That does not make them valuable for your country, your people, or the world. They only become a resource with technology, with capital, with rule of law, and a system of governance that encourages the harvesting of those resources to make the better world. And we see here the dramatic contrast between the United States, which may have less oil underground than Venezuela. We have 20 times the production
Burgum,
of Venezuela.
yeah,
20
Burgum
times
is
the
definitely
impact of human
intelligent.
betterment,
I
massively
wish he
better
would have been the
quality
VP.
living here in the United States.
It was really
That
close.
was
I
at
remember
risk under the last
that market.
administration. We've seen a
Burgum
lot
was
of
the
attacks
favorite
on
a
the
few days
energy
out,
that
and
makes
then
the world go
Vance
round.
flipped him.
President Trump's election has removed those risks.
Burgum
Has
was
embraced
really high out as a
reality
favorite
about
for a
how the
while.
world is energized, and we are at record production of oil in the United States, record production in natural gas in the United States. We've seen a meaningful decline in gasoline prices, diesel prices, travel prices because of jet fuel. And now President Trump is taking the genius of a different way to try to solve a 25-year festering problem in
So this is going to go
Venezuela.
on long with
And
all these
the
people
traditional
talking.
things have
Imagine,
not
I'd
worked.
expect like 30
But
minutes of other
ordering
people
both a
talking.
tremendous military operation to remove the heads of a criminal organization masquerading as a government, and then to use the power of our military, not to fire bullets, but to stop the flow of Venezuelan oil to the world, immediately gave us leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela and has allowed us to be in this position today where the actions of this government can massively improve Venezuela for the better, and the bigger impact is to massively improve the quality of life, affordability, safety, and security of the United States. Very proud to be here. And we'll turn it over to Mark Nelson, who's the vice chairman of Chevron.
I'm gonna grab a quick
Chevron
water.
has been in Venezuela for over
Hopefully I don't miss
100
anything. I don't think I will. Be right
years,
back.
continuously. Mike Wirth, the CEO, had a knee replacement recently. He's not here. Mark is a tremendous leader in our industry, and I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Secretary Wright. Again, I'll send Mike Wirth's regrets. He really wanted to be here, Mr. President.
all right. Great guy.
On his behalf, I have 3 very quick thank yous and an assurance I'd like to provide you all. The first thank you, Mr. President, is to you. It's thank you for convening this
Keystone
gathering.
Pipeline
It's
question?
Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for
Only after I fill
continuing
my
to
yes
keep
shares.
American energy domination in the forefront. So thank you.
I kind of
Thank you
agree,
for that.
Ivan. I think a lot of Minneapolis
The second
questions,
thank you
a lot of
actually
Tim
is
Walz,
to the
Minnesota
cabinet.
questions.
So Secretary Rubio, Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, your ability and commitment to continue to engage with the parties around the table to keep the world working is greatly appreciated. So thank you for that. And the final thank
Man,
you
what
actually
is
would
Tucker
go
Carlson
to
doing
our
here
Venezuelan employees
this
of
meeting?
Chevron.
It's
They
kinda
have been
funny.
working tirelessly to operate safely, protect the environment in country, and their dedication and skill will help us in this next chapter. And finally, I'll close with the assurance. For more than a century, Chevron has been a part of Venezuela's past. We are certainly committed to its present, and we very much look forward as a proud American company to help it build a better future. And so, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership.
And you really suffered there. You stuck it out. A lot of people left. A lot of big companies left. Many of the people sitting at this table left because of the
Getting some
safety risk
Greenland.
and other risks. But you stuck it out. I give you credit for that. Sometimes it was hard. I remember 6 months ago I told you to stay. Just stay. Things are going to happen. You'll be very happy. I didn't know they were going to happen this fast or this conclusively. One thing I think everyone has to know is that if we didn't do this, China or Russia would have done
Oh,
it.
there's China.
And if China or Russia were a next-door neighbor, because essentially this is not around the other parts of the world so far away where you fly in an airplane for 24 hours before you get there. This is sort of a next-door neighbor if you think about it. And I told China and I told Russia, we get along with you very well. We like you very much. We don't want you there. Not going to be there. And if we didn't do this, China would have been there and Russia would have been there. Maybe they both would have been
Now
there
Greenland's,
together, but
like,
they're not gonna
jumping
be
up.
there now. One thing I will tell them, and I will tell you, that we are open for business. China can buy all the oil they want from us there or in the United States. Russia can get all the oil they need from us, and they do like oil, even though they produce a lot of it. But China and Russia and everybody else is able to go, and we'll be open for business almost immediately. I have a feeling the $100 million will be spent $100 billion will be spent very, very rapidly by these very big, powerful, and rich companies, and I think they're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure. And I hope it's going to be brand new as opposed to a rehab, because I know the tremendous difference between the new and the not so new in your industry. The new is much more beautiful, much better. In
How
every
high do I
way,
have to
and
go to get
actually
trillion
much smaller.
bid?
It's like everything else, gets smaller and stronger. It's a combination of smaller, better, and stronger. So I hope you're going to build all brand new stuff, rip out the old crap that's been there for so many years, and do it the right way. You're going to be there a long time. If we make a deal, you're going to be there a long time. If we don't make a deal, you won't be there at all. It's, sort of interesting. But again, China and Russia would have been there if we didn't do this. And the other thing people ask about the second wave, I don't think it's going to be necessary. We have an armada, a giant armada like nobody's ever seen in that part of the world. And it's stationed off the coast. And we are getting along so well with the people that are involved and representing Venezuela that I don't think we're going to have any, I don't think it's going to be necessary to do the second wave. We were planning on a second wave, but the first wave was so powerful and so good and so strong.
Why do I put limit orders in?
And frankly,
You don't
the
pay fees,
people
and
in the country,
if
they
people
really-
start to
they
dump
did the right
because
thing. They
other
were
people
smart.
talking
They did
goes
the right
long,
thing. They
I
didn't
could
wanna
get
go through
cheaper
a
yes
second
shares.
wave, but
I think there's
we've
going to be a Q&A. That's
got
why I'm trying to,
tremendous
or
number
like a
of
decent
the
long
most
Q&A. That's why I'm
powerful
trying to get
ships in the
cheaper yes
world
shares.
Right there. I don't think we're going to have to use that. I'm happy to say that. I don't think we're going to have to use that at all. If I could ask Chevron, you did a great job. I want to thank you. And ExxonMobil, if you would say a few words, and then followed by Conoco, great companies, massive companies, great companies.
Great
Exxon,
companies,
please.
massive companies,
Sure.
great
Thank you, Mr.
companies.
President. I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity, frankly, for the entire industry to show up and provide a perspective. Frankly, we've been kind of unresponsive to the press regarding Venezuela. I guess today's the opportunity to address the press directly with respect to a number of questions that have been asked of ExxonMobil. First and foremost, obviously, is the interest that we have in Venezuela. And I
Yes,
think,
human
the way I would
size. That is
position
exactly
I think one of
right.
the reasons why we see many of the industry players here.
You
is
can
we're in
also
the
see
depletion
I'm
business
pretty
for a
neutral
product
on
that is
any
in great
specific
demand and will
word.
be in demand for
You know what I
many,
mean?
Many, many decades to come. And as a depletion business, the biggest challenge we have is finding resources. There's an opportunity in Venezuela with all the resources there. Is we don't have that challenge of finding. We have the challenge of
Some may say
developing
the
those
hottest
resources. So I
companies in
think
the world until
it's in the best interest of these companies and, frankly, society as a whole for the industry to be interested in understanding what the opportunity here represents. I'll just share a philosophy that ExxonMobil has when we enter countries, because we do business all around the world in a number of different regimes. We take a very long-term perspective. The investments that we make span decades and decades, so we do not go into any opportunity with a short-term mindset. And there's a value proposition that we have to meet. It has to be a win-win-win proposition. Obviously, it has to be a win for the company and our shareholders and to generate a return for the investments that we make. It has to be a win for the government. The resources are an important source of revenue that helps support the people of the places that we do business. And it has to be a win for the people. We have to be wanted there and to be a good neighbor. And those three things ensure a stable, long-term platform for the large investments that we make for the long term. With respect to Venezuela in particular, we have a very long history in Venezuela. In fact, we first got into Venezuela back in the 1940s. We've had our assets seized there twice. And so you can imagine to...
No, I didn't play the Trump Fox thing. That was too late. I was playing
significant changes
Ole
from
Miss
what we've
game.
historically seen here.
Anytime
What
there's a
is
big
currently
sports
the
game, I want to
state.
be trading
If
that
you look
instead
at
of
the legal and
mentions.
commercial
And
constructs,
finding a lot of good
frameworks
angles in
place
sports.
today in
It's kind of
Venezuela,
where I'm going to focus probably
today,
most in 2026.
And
we'll
so
see.
significant changes have to be made to those commercial frameworks, the legal system. There has to be durable investment protections, and there has to be a change to the hydrocarbon laws in the country. We're confident that with this administration and President Trump working hand in hand with the
Oh,
Venezuelan
yeah. I'm gonna be
government,
playing
that
NFL
those
playoffs
changes
heavy.
can be put in place.
I got to lock in
And
for the
with
next few
respect to,
days.
the Venezuelan government, that perspective, we don't have a view on. We haven't talked to the
I did
Venezuelan
somewhat
government,
hedge, Ivan.
and obviously, we have yet
If
to
Miami
assess the
won by
people's,
1 or 2 points, that would have
perspective
been
with
okay.
respect to ExxonMobil entering
But the fact that
country.
Ole Miss missed that
In
field
the
goal.
short term,
No, I
there are
don't
things that
only
can be
trade the
done
money
while
line. There's
these,
no edge if you're just
longer-term
trading the money
issues are
line.
being worked. For us, we haven't been in the country for almost 20 years. We think it's absolutely critical in the short term that we get a technical team in place to assess the current state of the industry and the assets, to understand what would be involved to help the people of Venezuela get production back on the market. With the invitation of the Venezuelan government and with appropriate security guarantees, we are ready to put a team on the ground there. We also have a integrated set of capabilities from production to refining to trading, and I think we can be of assistance to getting the Venezuelan crude to market and realizing a market price to help, again, with the financial situation.
4 hours is a
in
long time to
Venezuela.
lock in on
So
mentions.
those are my short-term
Yeah.
perspective that I have. I'd say maybe close with a thank you, Mr. President, for the work that you've done to secure not only the national security, but the energy security of the region. And then thank you, Secretary Rubio, Secretary Wright, Secretary Burgum, for your leadership in this matter. Thank you.
How long would it take you, Darren, as Exxon to, if we make a deal, how long would it take you to get in there and get started?
Well, the first step.
I
is
will never
technical
do that
team.
until
We,
Co.
as
I
talked
don't
to
wanna give
Secretary
those
Wright earlier
angles
this
away,
week,
to be honest.
We started from the beginning to put the team together so that if and when it was needed, we could hit the ground almost
So you laid the
immediately.
groundwork.
So we can hit the ground and within the next couple of weeks,
Unfortunately,
start the assessment.
great.
And then from there, we need to understand.
That's what we want. We want speed and quality. That's what we want. Thank you, Darren. And Conoco, Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the opportunity to be here too, and you've assembled a great team. And our congratulations as well for removing one of the terrible people in the world and bringing them to justice. It was quite amazing. I think you've given hope to the people of Venezuela again, which I think is quite remarkable. And we've been on the other end of that despot regime a long time. Our assets were expropriated. I had a little bit more hair when that happened. And you know, I think we're the largest non-sovereign credit holder in Venezuela today. So we're at a bit of a different situation, but I think your big and bold idea to use energy commerce instead of conflict is something that could make a real big difference in Venezuela. And we stand. Our
imagine how
company
much money is in that room right
stands
now.
ready to help
The CEO of
in
almost
that
every oil
endeavor.
company.
Encourage you to continue to think bigger and even bolder. And we've had some discussions with your energy team about that as well, as we think about the other people that need to be in this room and in this discussion, or the banks.
How many times has he said
including probably the
MBT?
Exim Bank, as we
What's
think about how
MBT?
the debt needs to be restructured and the financing to deliver the billions of dollars that are required to restore their energy infrastructure. And I think as we think that big and bold, we need to be also thinking about even restructuring the entire Venezuelan energy system, including PDVSA. And I think if we can do that and think
Million,
bold,
billion, trillion?
there's
Oh, a
opportunity to be quick,
ton.
fast, and restore the quality of what's happened in Venezuela, or what's been lost in Venezuela over the course
Yeah,
of this
you got to
decade.
find other streams,
Thank you
Milmer.
for this opportunity.
The
Well, thank
YouTube
you very
stream has a
much, and you'll
delay.
get a lot of your money back. We're going to start with
For
an
White
even
House.
plate, though. We're not going to.
Am I doing mentions for the Packers-Bears game? Maybe
Maybe
I'll watch it. I might play some of them.
You're gonna make a lot of money, but we're not going to go back. You left a lot of money behind, I guess, huh? What number?
12 billion.
How much?
12 billion?
Well, it's a good write-off.
It's already been written off.
It's been written. All right, thank you. You'll make it back one way or the other. You're all going to do very well. I think really very well. Marco just gave me a note. Go back to Chevron. They want to discuss something. Go ahead. I'm going back to Chevron, Marco. Thank you, Marco. Go ahead.
Was there a question, Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead, Marco. What are you saying here?
Mark, if you can
increase.
update us on operations in the ground and with the appropriate approvals, what you might be able to achieve in the next 12 to 18 months, give us a little view from the ground.
You bet, you bet. So today Chevron has 3,000 employees in 4 different joint ventures in Venezuela today. And over the past 5 to 7 years,
Chevron's
they've
like
taken production
super well
from about
equipped for
40,000
this.
barrels a day to 240,000 barrels a day, essentially getting those facilities and that equipment up to standards that would be something that people in the room would be more accustomed to. Given the work we've done with Secretary Wright and Secretary Burgum and even Secretary Bessent, I think we have a path forward here very shortly to be able to increase our liftings from those joint ventures 100%, essentially effective immediately. We are also able to increase our production within our own disciplined investment schemes by about 50% just in the next 18 to 24 months, and that's just leveraging what's on the ground. So to Secretary Rubio's comments about phase 1, this is taking the momentum of improvements we've already made there locally and building on those and creating more momentum for the people of Venezuela.
Do you think you have an advantage being there? It's, you've been there by the skin of your teeth. It's been tough for you to be there. But do you think you have an advantage over the other people in
This
this
is a
room
funny
by
question.
the fact that you are there?
Yeah, I think there are, Mr. President, I think there would be days where it didn't feel like an advantage, and there are days where it does feel like an advantage. But having people on the ground today that care desperately about the people of Venezuela and know how to operate the assets.
Worst
they're-
market
they're
at weather
definitely
market
advantages.
Mogs?
Would you say the best locations are available, or would you say the best locations are already sort of worked, even though they're in very bad shape? The
Well,
best locations for finding oil, the best locations for oil.
There are more opportunities than not, Mr. President. With 300 billion barrels of reserves and resources in country, there are lots of opportunities for many companies.
Will you be building new, or will you be using the old infrastructure that you have?
Yeah, today it's a little bit of a mix, but today it's mostly us taking the equipment of today, getting it to the standards that we are accustomed to your comments about making it how it should be today. Most of the investments that we've been making are about getting it up to our standards.
Well, I think you're going to make an investment, but you're going to get your money back very quickly, and that's part of our thing. We're going to have you get your money back fast, and then you'll give a lot to Venezuela and to the United States after that. Okay, so you'll be in good shape. Could I ask Carol Tam to say a few
he has
words?
something
He's been
against Chevron or
a friend of
something.
mine
Did
for
you
a long
guys see
time.
that?
Very amazing man, actually, amazing energy person.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's good to be here with so many dignified people. And this effort particularly and out of that area. And the world dealt with him way too long. Certainly, our industry knows that this is a real
Now
jewel
AP is faster for
that
me.
can be developed
They
for
put AP on.
the people of Venezuela and also benefit the world. And like Secretary Wright said, it has not been done. That's not been done in the past, and they had a good chance at it. Brought someone in that totally took it down, as everybody knows here, and that was Chavez, and we know what happened to him finally. But that ruined the industry in Venezuela, and all of us know how that ended very well, very, very wrongly. So. Anyway, we're glad to see what's happened here and look forward for the opportunity for a lot of people in this room, but also for America
he really
and
is.
the country itself.
Are you going to be involved in
The
going
Texas
in?
oil
Because,
mine.
He's in
a
North
baron,
Dakota
not a
and
man.
He's in Oklahoma and some incredible places. It's a little bit different.
Can
but
tell Trump likes
There's
this
no
guy.
doubt about you won't have to worry about the straw too much here. You can just go at it. Are you going to be one of the participants?
Well, certainly, I'm an oil finder, like you said. Barry Switzer, told that story.
The coach.
And he's kind of exaggerated a little bit. It doesn't come out quite that easily usually. But anyway, great story. I love it. And I love Barry.
Barry's the one that told me this.
Yeah, he's a champion, in a lot of ways. So love that story.
Look, I think Trillions is
Certainly,
hitting right. I'm not disagreeing
it
with you.
excites me. as
I
an
don't see how it doesn't hit
explorationist.
here.
Everybody
Just
has
trying to
that
see how
in their
low it
blood,
gets. I have a nice bid up.
It is a very
In case someone dumps.
exciting country and a lot of reserves. And so it's got its challenges, and the industry knows how to handle that. And
Well, I'm getting some yes
like
shares.
Darren said,
Axu.
you go into your eyes open and do the best you can with
So
the
we'll
team
take
you
it.
got. So
Well, you're going to
thank
have
you.
something that they never had really here is tremendous security. You're going to be very secure, very safe, physically safe, in addition to financially safe. So it's good to see you, Harold. Thank you very much. Does anybody have anything to say before we get to the press?
What does Cuba have to do to avoid the same fate as Venezuela? What does Cuba have to
Well, Cuba's in bad shape. Cuba relied on Venezuela for oil and for money. And nobody really knows what's going to happen with Cuba. They're doing very poorly. They're really third world all the way. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans. And I would say Marco fits very solidly into that category. And
Oh,
I
they
might
just
ask you to
changed.
say a few words about, we were discussing it before, Cuba is a very different, they don't have energy, they don't have oil, but they would live off of the
That's what I'm
oil
saying.
from Venezuela. And what they do have is very strong people and very powerful people militarily, and they would protect the people running Venezuela, and they would take in a lot of money from Venezuela. Now they don't have that. They won't be taking in any money. So, Marco, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the fundamental problem in Cuba is that it's run by incompetent people that don't know what an economy looks like, much less a functioning one. They've made a choice, and that is they would rather have political control over their people than they would have an economy that functions. And they've gotten away with it for
Someone penny
60-something
jumping
years
here.
because they've had donors, the Soviet Union, and now most recently Venezuela. But that's now gone.
I just
the
gotta be
people
ready to
in
pull
control in
if,
Cuba have a choice to make.
there's
They
some
can either have a real
sudden
country with a real economy where
change.
their people can prosper, or they can continue with their failing dictatorship that's going to lead to systemic and societal collapse. So it's a very stark and dramatic choice, and it's one we hope to make the right one. We don't have an interest in a destabilized Cuba, but that would be their fault because they refuse to allow the people of Cuba to have either economic or political freedom, for that matter.
And you have
Oh,
Holly, you
we
have a
got
lot
Somali
of people
at
in this
11
country
cents.
that want to go back to Cuba
Yo.
and help Cuba. A lot of people have left, they came in penniless, they didn't have anything, and they've become very rich people in our country, and they want to very much go back and help Cuba. So that's something that Cuba has that a lot of other places don't have. Peter?
President Trump, thank you. I do want to ask you about
Wow.
Minnesota, but first, just more on topic.
How did I get
President
Somali at
Zelensky
11
said that he
cents?
was watching with the rest of the world as you made this order to go and capture Nicolas Maduro. And he said, if that's how it works with dictators, then the United States knows what to do next. Sounds like he wants you to go and capture Vladimir Putin. Would you ever order a mission
Did you hear he's
go
going to
and
ask
capture
about
Vladimir
Minnesota?
Putin?
Well, I don't
Bullish
think it's going to be necessary.
on
I think we're gonna
Somali
have
right there.
I've always had a great relationship with him. I'm very disappointed. I settled 8 wars. I thought this
Oh,
would
there's
be in
8
the middle
war.
of the pack, or maybe one of the easier ones. And I don't know if you know, Peter, the last month they lost 31,000
Wow, I had a
people,
bid up
many
for
of
8
them Russian
wars.
soldiers, and the Russian economy
Dang.
is doing poorly. I think we're going to end up getting it settled.
Oh, that's
I
so
wish we
sad.
could have
I had
done
a
it
limit by.
quicker because a lot of people are dying, and mostly soldiers. They get hit in Kiev and they get hit a little bit here and there, and people are
Sad.
dying there too. But largely,
I know.
it's the soldier
Did you click those
population.
Bip-Bop? That
When
must
you
have been a lot.
30,000, 31,000 soldiers dying in a period of a month. 27,000 the month before, 26,000 the month before that. That's bad stuff. So, as you know, President Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine to fight, and we would never get that back, although I did make a rare earth deal to get it back, so we will be getting it back, but shouldn't have done that. It was a bad
Rare
thing
earth
to do.
mention.
I will say that right now, because I was able to get NATO to up GDP from 2% to 5%, NATO's got a lot of money, and they're paying for everything. We're not losing any money.
this trillion?
We're making a lot of money, I guess, if you think of it, because we're selling them military equipment. They're probably giving it to Ukraine. But we're selling them to NATO military equipment. We're getting full price and all of that. But that's not
Yeah,
a big
Drake,
deal to
I
me.
have a
What
ton
is
of
a big
articles
deal
on
is
my
stopping
X
a war
that
where
explain
30,000 people are being
how
killed
to
every single
find
month.
edges.
On Minnesota, the vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say it. Look,
Why do you
I
hate to
watched
say it?
that yesterday, and there are a lot of different
That
forms
your vice
to it.
president's accurate.
But there was
it's a
a
weird
woman
comment.
screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker. Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this. The news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement.
Oh, I didn't get caught there.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in your conversations with these oil executives today,
Back
do
to
you
oil.
provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? And separately, Mr. President,
Agitator.
They will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see
Nice.
Venezuela
Got some
now
ice
led by
fills.
Delcy Rodriguez as an ally of the U.S.? Is that the way that you view that country
Well,
right
right
now?
now they seem to be an ally, and I think it'll continue to be an ally. And we don't want to have Russia there. We don't want to have China there. And by the way, we don't want Russia or China going to Greenland. Which if we
Boom,
don't
Greenland.
take Greenland, you're going to have Russia
Let's go.
or China as your next.
Oh,
door
I
neighbor.
still could have
That's not going
clicked
to happen.
the 99. Dang, people are slow. All right, we got Greenland. Let's go. This is why you get cheap yes shares.
Mr. President, thank you. You just said that these companies would have security guarantees if they go in on the ground. In
Look, we got that
Venezuela.
at 28 cents.
And what is
That's
your plan
$2.50 right there.
actually
Let's
for
go.
These companies and those Americans who are going to be on the ground working for these companies.
Well, there are going to be Americans. I assume they're going to be using a lot of Americans, but they're going to be using a lot of people from Venezuela and other places, I would imagine. But I would think that mostly they'll be using Venezuelan workers. They have a lot of great workers. They have a very high unemployment rate, and they have workers that are very familiar with taking oil out of the ground. Yeah.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there?
This could be
When is
nuclear.
the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very,
This has
very
to be
hard where it
nuclear,
hurts.
right?
So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely. Go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Do you have any comments in reaction to the recent attacks by the Syrian government alignment groups against U.S.-backed Kurdish forces in Aleppo, Syria, which killed dozens of
Syria
civilians and
question.
displacing many
Oh,
families?
Somali.
Does your administration bring peace between the Kurds and the Syrian government?
I want to see peace. Yes, I do. The Kurds and the Syrian government, we get along with both. As
Didn't you
know
say
very well.
Somalian or Syrian?
They have been
Why did I
natural
hear
enemies
Somalian?
over the years, but we get along both, and we want to see Syria succeed. And so far, I think they are succeeding, but this is just breaking
I must
out,
have
and we want to see
misheard.
that stopped.
Did I mishear? I must
Go ahead,
have.
please.
You're meeting with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, in a few weeks. Do you hope this meeting with Gustavo Petro marks a
Okay, I'm
new
gonna
chapter,
pull my
a new
orders.
beginning in the benefit of the
Yes, you
U.S.
said
and
what
Colombia
country?
relations?
What country?
Colombia, with the president
Okay.
of Colombia, Gustavo
Yes,
Petro,
I
you're
had a
meeting.
very good talk with him yesterday. And
Yeah,
you know, he's
it had
been
to be
very hostile
Syrian. Why did I hear
to
Somalian?
us and to the nation and to me, called me a dictator and lots of other things. Called Biden some terrible names, far worse than he called me. But he
Biden
called
worse names than
yesterday through
Trump.
people, and he wants to meet, and that's fine with me. I've made up with people also, you know.
Is
so
this a
we're gonna have
cocaine
meeting
angle?
with him. We had a very good conversation. The people of Colombia are incredible people. Marco would know that better than anybody because he's married to a woman from Colombia. And I don't mean Columbia University. That would be, I'm not sure. I think I like Columbia, the country, better, if you want to know the truth. The people, hold it. The people are great people. I look forward to meeting with them. Going to meet in the very near future.
Would you meet the interim president of Venezuela here in the White House? Would you greet her to discuss the fate of the oil?
Yeah, well, I'm going to meet a lot of people, and we're going to meet. We meet a lot of people. When you end 8 wars, you get to know a lot of people, and I think it's very important. As an example, we have over $18 trillion. Think of that, $18 trillion coming into our country. A lot of that's coming in from foreign countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE.
I tried to get cheap.
And
I
get to meet a lot of people, but
I need to put a higher bid for Trillion. He's going to say Trillion every time.
Of Venezuela, probably pretty soon. We haven't set that up.
I got to raise my bids for Trillion.
But the relationship that we have with the people that are currently running Venezuela is very good. We also have a young lady that received the Nobel Peace Prize. She's going to come in and pay her regards to our country, to me, but I'm a representative of the country, nothing
You had
else.
no Trillion?
And
wow,
she's coming
risky.
in sometime next week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday.
I'm hitting a bot
and,
on these 37-cent
is.
shares.
But, we're dealing with the people from Venezuela. We're dealing with them very well. I think they've been very smart in the way they've dealt with us, frankly, because that whole place could have been obliterated with one more strike, and we didn't want to do that.
Thank you so much. I have a question for you on Minneapolis, but on Venezuela.
Oh, nice.
Your
Another
meeting with
Minneapolis
Machado
question.
Next week. If she gives you her Nobel Peace Prize, will that change your view about her
She
running
might
that
give
country?
him.
Well, I have to speak to her. I'm going to have to speak to her. She might be involved in some aspect of it. I will have to speak to her. I think it's very nice that she wants to come in, and that's what I understand the reason is, because Norway is very embarrassed by what took place. I mean, they're getting decimated. Look, whether people like Trump or don't like Trump, I settled 8 wars, big ones, some going on for 36 years, 32 years, 31 years, 28 years, 25 years, some just getting ready to start, like India and Pakistan, where already 8 jets were shot out of the air, and I got it done in rapid
Is he going
order
to say
without
9 wars?
nuclear weapons.
Nuclear. Dang, I didn't get any fills.
I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me, and I don't want to be bragging, but nobody else settled wars. Obama got the Nobel Prize. He had no idea why. He still has no idea. He walks around, he says, I got the Nobel Prize.
Could he say 9
Why did he
wars?
get a Nobel Prize? He got it almost immediately upon attaining office.
I had
and he didn't do anything, and he was a bad president. So, I mean, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. These were major wars. These were wars that
Is he going to say 9
nobody
wars?
thought
Come on, say 9 wars.
could be stopped. President Putin called me, and he said about 2 of the wars that he's been trying to stop them for 10 years. He wasn't able to do it. He couldn't believe it. So in theory, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. Every one of them was major. But I don't care about that. What I care about is saving lives. I've saved tens of millions of lives. You know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan came here, and he made a very public statement. He said that President Trump saved minimum 10 million lives.
Minimum 10 million.
Having to do with Pakistan and India, and that was going to be raging. So, but I'm honored that she's coming here. I look forward to meeting her, yes. Go ahead.
On Minneapolis, Mr. President, I have a follow-up for you. The state officials there have said that the FBI is not sharing evidence with them. Typically, they would conduct a joint investigation, as you know. Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis
come on,
and
Somalians.
Minnesota,
Somalians.
what a beautiful place.
Say
but it's being
Somalians.
destroyed. It's got an
Somalian.
incompetent
Somalian.
governor fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be 19
This has to be
billion dollars
Somalian. This
stolen
has to be.
from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote.
474 to
And they
11
sell
cents.
more
That's
Mercedes-Benzes
10x on
in that area
Somalian.
than
What did I
almost-
tell
can
you guys
imagine
about
come
getting
over
these
with no
GPS
money and then
shares?
shortly thereafter, you're driving a
Let's
Mercedes-Benz.
go.
The whole thing is ridiculous. So
Boom.
very corrupt people. It's a very
Let's
corrupt
go.
state. I feel that I won.
We're up to 700.
Minnesota. I think I won it all 3 times.
He still hasn't said Tim Walz.
Nobody's won it since Richard
Bang,
Nixon won it many,
let's
many years
go.
ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion.
All we need
And
is
it's a corrupt
fentanyl,
state, a corrupt voting
cocaine.
state. And the
which could
Republicans
come
ought to get smart and
if he
demand
goes
on
about.
voter ID.
We could
They
get
ought to demand
fentanyl if
maybe
somebody asked him a
same-day
question on
voting and all
Maduro.
of the other things that you have to safe election. But I won Minnesota 3 times and I didn't get credit for it. I did so well in that state every time. The people were crying every time after.
I
That's a
don't know if
crooked
he'll
state.
say Walz.
California's a crooked state. Many crooked states. We have a very, very dishonest voting system. The last time I won, 24, the one that just took place, I won because it was too big to rig. You couldn't rig it. It was too big.
Too big to
But
rig?
I won the state of Minnesota. It's a corrupt voting system with an
Did
incompetent
that already
governor.
strike in the weekly?
A very incompetent governor.
Wow, just incompetent governor.
And by the way, he's a very corrupt governor, too. Go
I
ahead.
have a question on Iran,
Wow.
but first, very quickly on Venezuela. How
Dodge
do you
on
provide
Walz.
total security guarantees to these companies without putting U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, we're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group. And they're going to also bring over some security with them. You know, these are not babies. These are people that drill oil in some pretty rough places. I could say a couple of those places make Venezuela look like a picnic. These people around the table, these are tough people. They go into areas that you wouldn't want to go. They go into areas that if they invited me, I'd say, no, thanks. I'll see you back in Palm Beach. No, this is a tough group of people. They know how to do it. But we are, in addition to that, we'll have very good security for them. We're going to make sure that it's very, very good security. And I think the people of Venezuela are going to give you very good security. You know, the people... Now, I'm not talking even leadership. The people of Venezuela are going wild over this. They named a street after President Trump. What do? You attack a country and they name a street? That's never happened before. Although I heard that's also taking place in Iran. They named a street. The protesters. I just hope, just God bless them. I just hope the protesters in Iran are going to be safe because that's a very dangerous place right now. And again, I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting because we'll start shooting too. With your glasses, sir, go ahead, please. Hold it. Next to you. Yes, glasses. The gentleman with the glasses.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
With those very big glasses, actually.
Yeah, Ferrari, actually.
Ferrari.
Mr. President, I have 2 questions. What do you want the European Union to do in Ukraine? The European leaders seem pretty divided on Ukraine. And then if you can reiterate this straight message that you have to the Iranian leader, to Khomeini, the message that you have.
You're talking about Iran?
Iran, yeah.
What
the
do
first
I
one
want
is on
Iran
Europe.
to do?
I'm sorry?
Where are you from?
Italy.
Oh, nice place.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first question
So
is
what
on
are you
Europe.
asking about Iran for?
Well, if you can answer about Europe and what you think the Europeans should do.
He doesn't
on
say
Ukraine,
pipeline,
and then
doesn't it
a
settle
message.
for me? I
Well,
bought
look,
at 30
Europe
cents.
has been
What do
doing
you
so
mean?
much for Ukraine, but
Wait, onion? He hadn't.
it hasn't been enough, and obviously that I would say that President Putin is not afraid of Europe. He's afraid of the United States of America, as led by me. There's no fear of Europe. You know, Europe's
What
fallen
are these
behind.
what does
and Europe-
onion mean?
And JD said it very strongly. I don't know. It's he took a lot of heat, but I didn't give him any heat. Europe is a different place. Europe is changing. Europe has got to get its act together. I love Europe. I guess I came from Europe essentially. I have my roots are in Europe, but Europe is a different place. They have to get their act together. Now they've said they have a great NATO leader. and
Oh,
they've
he
gone
said
up to
European
5%
onion?
from 2%.
That could be a
GDP.
good
That's
clip.
a big step. But they have to be
I'm
very
gonna try to
careful with
find
their
it.
immigration policy, and they have to be very, because, I will just say, to be nice, that there are certain places in Europe that are
How did
very
I miss
important that are
that?
no longer recognizable. I'm being very nice. I'm being very diplomatic when I say that. They are not recognizable, and they have to be careful on energy because they're putting windmills all over the place and losing a
Windmills.
fortune. They're destroying their country. They're just destroying the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful everything. They're doing. And by the way, in case you people don't
where are
know,
you
I'm
from?
not
Just
much
hit?
of a windmill person. I can proudly
wow.
say, Doug, that we have not approved one windmill since I've been in office, and we're going to keep it that way. My goal is to not let any windmill be built. They're losers. They lose money. They destroy your landscape. They kill your birds. They're all made in China. And all you have to do is, just about all of the windmills are made in China, the structures. All you have to do is say to China, how many windmill areas do you have in China? So far, they're not able to find any. They use coal,
Windmill
and they use
10
oil
plus.
and gas, and some nuclear, not much. But they don't have windmills. They make them and sell them to suckers like Europe and suckers like the United States before. They are the worst form of energy, the most expensive form of energy.
Why does this
and
guy
in
hate
8 years,
windmills
they're
so
rotted
much?
out anyway. Go take a look at Palm Springs, California, and take a look at what that looks like. It looks like a junkyard.
Walls
A
already came
junkyard
up, but
of
he
steel.
dodged
So
it, John
we don't
John.
approve, and
He
I've
just
told
called
my
him
people,
governor.
we will not approve windmills. Maybe we get forced to do something
We will
because
not
some
approve
stupid person in the
windmills.
Biden
Windmills are
administration agreed to do
anti-American.
something years ago. We will
I'll
not
say
approve
it.
any windmills in this country.
Two questions. On Venezuela, is it ultimately more important to you to establish stability there or democracy there?
Well, you're talking about
That's
maybe
a
the
good
same
question.
thing. I mean, you're talking about stability or democracy? I don't know. To me, it's almost the same thing. We want stability, but we do want democracy. Ultimately, it'll be democracy. Peter?
I do have a policy question, President Trump, but I'm having a hard time seeing here. I see the American flag lapel pin. What is the other lapel pin on
Somebody
your jacket?
gave me this. You know what that is? That's called a happy Trump.
Happy Trump.
And considering the fact that I'm never happy, I'm never satisfied. I will never be satisfied until we make America great again, but we're getting pretty close, I'll tell you what. This is called a happy Trump. Somebody gave it to me. I put
Happy
it on.
Trump.
Thank you, thank you. And,
Really?
The policy question.
Trump
How
golf
much
course has
money
a ton of
are you
windmills?
thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not
takeover?
talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But
Dang,
right
I should have gotten
now,
more
we are
Greenland. I
going
can't
to
believe
do
it got
something on
so cheap.
Greenland,
I got
whether
Greenland
they
at
like it or
28
not,
cents.
because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal. You know, the easy
Wow,
way,
that's
but if we
very
don't do it the
crazy
easy way,
rhetoric.
we're
We're
gonna
not
do
going
it
to
the
have
hard
Russia
way.
or China as a neighbor. I mean, it makes sense. It's just like that's the exact same
And by the way, I'm a fan of
rhetoric
Denmark,
Putin
too, I have
uses
to tell you. And
for
you know, they've
invading
been very
Ukraine,
nice to
isn't
me.
it?
I'm a big fan, but you know the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years
Are
ago
we the
doesn't mean
baddies?
that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way.
I would just play around with it, Shanks.
Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Honestly.
Mr. President,
Try to
why
get used
is
to
it so
it.
important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect the security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, you know, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen.
Seems
We are
like a
not
new
gonna have-
talking
and I
point.
like China. I like Russia. I love the people of China. I love the people
That
of
Russia
Russia.
and China will do it.
I get
Or am I
along
wrong?
very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
I mean, they have a lot of strikes now.
On the economic report that came out today, Mr. President, one, can you
Oh,
respond to that?
economic
And
report.
two,
This could be
It was
hottest.
An amazing report. The amazing
This could
and the
be
most
hottest.
amazing thing is government jobs are way down, and yet the unemployment or the employment numbers are very good. We've gotten rid of tremendous numbers of federal government jobs. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And yet the employment numbers are very good. They're really getting better. But now we have all those people to work in the private sector for a lot more money. I think that's one of the very big things. The other thing is at 5.4%. And remember, this is after we had a shutdown. And that shutdown had an impact because the concept of the shutdown even though it's before, people knew we were going to be shutting down. A lot of bad things happened.
People knew.
And by the way, on January 30th, you may have another shutdown. We'll see what happens.
Oh, gosh.
But,
another
I
shutdown.
think the numbers, Caitlin, were really amazing.
Oh,
Look,
God.
To think about 5.4%, nobody thought that. They thought it was going to be 2%. And you know what it is? It's tariffs. And it's also November 5th. We had a great election. A great election.
Wow.
Our country was dead.
Oh, hottest.
1.5
This is hottest.
years ago, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I hope you guys were impressed.
Oh, I only got 600. I knew this was hottest.
And we haven't even really transitioned yet. There's no reason it can't be
Wow.
much higher than that.
Hottest freaking country. I should have bought it on the economic question.
First off, can you respond to the manufacturing
Let's
numbers?
give CNN a chance. You know, they've been
John
fighting so
Chung, good
hard to get
pickup
back
on
into
hottest.
the mainstream.
Mr. President, you posted some numbers actually on Truth Social last night. People saying you posted the job data early when you're not supposed to obviously share it till the next morning. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I don't know. If they posted them, I said post them whenever you get a chance. I don't know. They gave me some numbers.
Saying they posted the
when people
job
give me
numbers
things,
early.
I post them.
So
but the
stupid.
numbers are amazing. Yeah, please.
How does the administration plan to distribute the money from the Venezuela oil sales? Is it obviously you say it's going to go into these controlled accounts.
Yeah.
Would it go back to Venezuela in a
Yeah.
direct payment? Is it going through these goods? How do you plan to do that?
Well,
And
we
then I
want
have
to
a
make
second
sure
question.
that Venezuela can survive. You know, Venezuela
Made the
needs
Maduro no back.
money,
Nice.
and we're going to make sure that they get money, and we're going to get money, and the oil companies are going to make something for the work they do, and they're going to get back their money. We're devising a formula, but it won't be so much of a formula. It's going to be what they need. We're
Yeah,
going to take
never
care of what
fade
they need. There'll be
hottest.
plenty left over. We're going to have a lot of money left over. And the money left over is going to the United States of America, and the oil companies are going to be very happy. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. My second question is, would the administration offer a backstop to these
Oh,
oil companies?
close to another Minnesota
for,
question.
Like financial
John
guarantees,
Chung, I
some
was
sort of
rooting for you.
backstop If the country did destabilize again.
That's a very interesting question. Using the word backstop, I haven't heard that word in a long time. That was at the Wharton School of Finance I last heard.
The
That's
Wharton
a good term.
School.
We ought to use it more often. I hope I don't have to give a backstop. I'm just, look, these are very smart people, the smartest people. They're not only in oil and business. These are the biggest companies in the world sitting around this table. They know the risks. I mean, there are risks. We're going to help them out. We're going to make it real easy. They're going to be
Pipeline
there for a
at
long
38?
time. We're going to be
I don't
there
know. Does he
together
say
for a
pipeline
long,
often?
long time. And they're going to be taking the oil, and they're going to be bringing oil prices down. They're going to make a lot of money.
Look,
They're
I
gonna get their
bonded a
money back.
little
They're
bit,
gonna
a
be
call.
safe.
Only a little
the people
bit.
of Venezuela are going to be
You
big
know?
beneficiaries, and the United States of America is going to be a big beneficiary for what we've done.
He seems like he's getting close,
And
by the
you know,
way.
one other thing I might say, it's also very big for national security because, again, just like Greenland, we can't have China or Russia occupy Greenland. We can't have China or Russia occupy
He's getting
Venezuela.
close.
And if we didn't do what we did, China or Russia would have been in Venezuela. I think I can. Where's Mr. Chevron? So let me ask you, they would have been there if we didn't do this. Do you agree with that?
I'm going to buy these nose
They
on
certainly have a
fentanyl.
lot of economic interest
Shouldn't have
in
been
country.
88.
There's absolutely no argument about that.
They were trying to be there. I mean, you know, we had a Russia, I guess sort of I call it a semi-Russian ship yesterday that we took over, and Russia
Holy cow.
decided not to
keep
defend
smacking
that
these.
ship against us. It's a big movement. The ship was loaded up with oil, and we took the oil, and it came out of that port.
Oh, shoot. This
But
might be fentanyl.
Russia would be there or China
Oh,
would
no,
be there.
it's
And we
not gonna
want
be.
them to
Okay,
be there for
oil
a different
tanker.
reason. We want them. Do you people agree? In particular, China, they need a lot of oil. Russia doesn't need so much, but Russia was there anyway.
See, if
But
they keep coming back
I
up at
assume you agree
15.
that China would like to be doing a lot of business there by buying oil. And I want to just tell President Xi and President Putin, but more so in this case, President Xi, because they do need a lot of oil. And we are open for business in the United States, and we are open for business in Venezuela, right?
Pretty cool, man. I got to hold these fentanyl shares for
Go ahead,
free,
sure.
basically.
You know, I could take questions from these people all day long. You know, they're sitting here, and generally they're very rich, very powerful, but nobody gives a damn about them. It's a sad thing. You have all that money, all that power, and look at all these crazy questions. We could do this all day long and they wouldn't be satisfied.
I have a question on today's meeting, Mr. President.
We'll take a few more, though.
Okay, a few more.
Let me ask you more importantly. Do you have any questions from the biggest?
Yes.
Hold it. Do you have any questions for the biggest people on earth, the biggest business people, the biggest companies anywhere on earth? Do you have any questions for these people? No. Do you have a question for them?
Yes, but have
Go
you
ahead,
heard
go
from
ahead,
any
ask
of
them.
the companies in the room that they are committed to rebuilding the oil infrastructure in Venezuela? And for the executives in the room, what do you need from the administration in order to invest?
That's a good question. Do you want to go and answer that question?
Yeah.
He is having fun. He's in a good mood today.
I'll refer you back to the statements I made before. There are a number of legal and commercial frameworks that would have to be established to even understand what kind of returns that we'd get on the investments. So I think all the investments and the opportunity sets, I think everyone sitting around this table would have the opportunity and the know-how and the capability to make the investments. The questions will ultimately be how durable are the protections from a financial standpoint, what do the returns look like, what are the commercial arrangements, the legal frameworks, all those things have to be put in place in order to make a decision to understand what your return would be over the next several decades that these $1 billion investments would be made on.
You know, could I do this? Because we have, again, the biggest people on the planet Earth around this table, biggest companies in the world. I'd like to just ask them to introduce themselves. We'll start from this end and go around to here.
They already introduced themselves, right?
If you have anything to quickly say, we can do that. But you want to just start right over here? These two guys, we'll leave them out because they're with us. Please.
Thank you, President Trump. John Addison at Vitol. We're here to ensure that you are going to be able to move all of this oil all around the world at the best price possible so that the influence that you have over the Venezuelans will ensure that you get what you want.
Thank you. Thank you. Good point.
Thank you, Mr. President. Brian Sheffield of Formentera. My grandfather, Hugh Sheffield, was president of ARCO, Venezuela.
Right.
Thank you for what you did.
Do you like what we're doing?
There's a lot of shale there, a lot of upside.
He would be very happy looking down. He'd be very proud of you right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. President, Luis Rodriguez. I'm probably the only Venezuelan American sitting on around this table. I want to personally thank you for the courage of your actions over the last couple of weeks. I think I speak, and I speak of Venezuela in general in saying there's optimism. You've brought optimism to the table, and if the conditions are met, the opportunity is absolutely immense.
He said trillion.
I agree with that. That's true. Thank you. Well said, too. It's immense. This is a tremendous opportunity. Thank you.
Richard Holton from Trafigura. We're working with your administration, Mr. President, to bring that Venezuelan oil to the United States. Our first vessel should load in the next week.
Great. Good job.
Except
Thank
most
you.
weekends I probably don't. But sometimes I
think
stream on the weekends.
reason
If there's
that
something
most
breaking.
of us are here and thinking about the future is because we trust you initially to set this program up that will work and guarantee.
It's like some alarms
that
going
this
off
can
near me
be done.
outside.
And
Yeah, I can see it
there's
bip
a
up.
huge investment that needs to
I
be
don't know what
done.
happened.
We've all agreed on that, and certainly we need time to see that through. So thank you for what you've done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'm Lane Riggs, CEO of Valero Energy, and we're one of those companies that refineries in the U.S. are uniquely configured to run Venezuelan oil, and we're more than happy as this opportunity expands for us to further invest in our refineries to produce more of it.
And you're very much set up for the heavy oil, right?
Yes, sir.
That's great. That's great. We're ready for it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
And thank you for opening the door to a better Venezuela. We are a Spanish company, but we are fully committed to invest here in the States. We
I don't
have
know if he said
invested over the last
sanction.
15 years, $21 billion in the American oil
I sold
and
my
gas
fentanyl
industry.
shares,
In
Lars.
Pennsylvania, in the Gulf of America, in
I
Texas.
bought them originally, then I
and
sold them
in
back at
Alaska
cost,
with the
basically.
discovery
That's why
of
I'm like
Pikka
even.
That is going to have the first oil this quarter and is going to change, is going to reverse the declining history of that great state of Alaska. We are in Venezuela, Mr. President, with our partners of ENI we produce the gas that guarantees the stability of a half of the grid power in Venezuela. So we are committed with this stability, and on top of that, we are on the ground, we have people, we have facilities, we have technical capabilities.
At 30 to
and
33?
point,
Nice.
Mr.
I sold a
President,
little
we
bit.
are
I sold like
ready to invest
130 at
more
30 to
in
33.
Venezuela. Today, we are producing
But I couldn't sell all
45,000
my
barrels
shares.
a day gross of oil, and we are ready to multiply by 3 this figure in coming 2-3 years, investing hard in the country, following your recommendation, if you allow us, of course, and in the framework, commercial and legal framework that could
Lars,
allow
if you
this
sell
growth.
out of
So
your
thank you, Mr.
positions, it
President.
will
Thank you.
tell you
Great
your
job you've
profit.
done. Thank you.
But if
Mr.
you
President,
want to
thanks for
see,
having me.
you can
Matt
also
Sheehy.
just
I'm with
go
Tallgrass
here,
Energy. We are
click
an
on the
infrastructure
word,
business, so
go to
whether
your
it's oil,
position,
gas, CO2,
then
we
it'll
move
show
that
you
around.
your
So most
profit
of my
under
customers
total
are sitting
return
around the
here.
table, and
You see?
happy to lend our expertise to what's going on in Venezuela to support the people. And obviously infrastructure is going to be critical
Good job.
to see it repaired. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. An honor to be here. Marianne Mannon, Marathon Petroleum. We are one of the largest U.S. refiners. On behalf of the men and women of Marathon Petroleum and of our industry, thank you and the administration for what you're doing for U.S. energy independence. We have the ability and the capability of our assets to process Venezuelan crude, and the people of Marathon Petroleum stand ready to do so.
Do we need more refineries in our country?
In the U.S.,
Oh,
probably not. We have
refineries. Is
sufficient
this an
capacity.
angle
It's amazing.
for
a lot
pipeline?
Of it was approved during my first term. We were getting you approvals that nobody could have gotten in Louisiana and other places, and they got built. Before that, it was a disaster. We didn't have the refineries. Now we do because of the first term. Please.
Darren Woods, ExxonMobil.
Okay, we'll go over here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff Hildebrand, founder and chairman of Hillcorp Energy, one of the largest private energy companies in America.
Who's bigger, you or Harold?
We're close.
Huh?
We're close. Harold.
Shout out
Harold.
to Louisiana.
Absolutely, Mr. Ham.
I don't like
but
Louisiana
thank you
'cause
for
you
your,
guys stole my
great,
coach
tremendous
at
leadership
LSU.
in protecting the interests in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow, all
The
except one
message
word,
that you have
Bip-Bop, are
sent to
yes.
China and
Crazy.
our enemies to stay out of our backyard is absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And finally, Hillcorp is fully committed and ready to go to rebuilding the infrastructure in Venezuela.
You'll go there? You'll be going?
Yes.
Good. That's good. You'll be very happy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff Miller, CEO of Halliburton Company. We are the largest American oilfield services company. We're the second largest in the world, been in business over 100 years. Started operations in Venezuela in 1938. Long time in Venezuela. I personally lived there for 4 years and raised my kids there. So quite familiar with Venezuela, and just couldn't express gratitude more so for the opportunity to return to Venezuela under the stability that I know that this team and your team are able to deliver. And so
When did you leave?
Huh?
When did you leave Venezuela?
As a company, we left under the sanctions in 2019. So we had intended to stay, and then when the sanctions went into place, we were required to leave. But very much interested in returning. Have 600 Venezuelans with Halliburton today, all around the world. Look forward to putting them back to work.
Great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
You'll be back. Please.
Mr. President, I'm Alex Granberg. My company, Aspect Energy, is one of the leading American international
Man, this is going
wildcatters.
long.
We've found significant fields in central
Are
and
you a
south.
wildcatter?
I'm a wildcatter.
That's pretty cool, I'll tell you. I would have been a wildcatter too if I was in. And you've been successfully wildcatting.
We've found significant
What
fields
is
in Central and
wildcatting?
South America, in the Middle East, and in Europe. We're a leading
That's
oil
great.
producer in Hungary.
Are you holding
But
those,
our-
Ivan?
Probably the most pertinent example is what a wildcatter does is take on risk and try to reduce it, and then other people come in and put more capital in later, so we're kind of kickstarters in the oil industry. We went into Kurdistan very early on, back when
Right.
people told us it wasn't safe and we shouldn't do it. We found a big field there, and it ultimately has got to be developed along with one of my colleagues here to be one of the big leading fields in Kurdistan. We think that Venezuela has a
Toss
tremendous amount of
independent
opportunity.
drillers?
If you look
Interesting.
at the reinvestment required, the
All right, I'll
investment
watch
required,
Land
people
Man.
are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. But if you put that in perspective, That's 1 million barrels a day for 15 years. It's $220 billion net cash flow.
Super risky. Once
So
that
what
hit,
we
make
really
gobs
need
of
to do
money
is
for
be
their
able to
investors.
kickstart production and then
Yeah, I'll watch
reinvest
that
and have
movie.
the confidence to reinvest. And what you're doing
I like
by
the actors
putting
in
the
that
United
movie.
States in control of the cash flow coming out of the country, it gives companies like ours the confidence to say we can kickstart this production and then reinvest and reinvest. In Hungary, we've invested $1 billion in changing the trajectory of Hungarian oil production. We were only able to do that not because we could write $1 billion check, we're a smaller company, but because we reinvest all the cash flow back into new production.
Good.
Mark
Good
Nelson,
job.
Mark Nelson with Chevron again.
Wow, this is going long.
Thank you.
Yellowstone's
Mr.
also about
President.
oil?
I'm Claudio Scalzi in ICO, Italy. We started working in Venezuela in 1980. We have a lot of oil, but now just the gas is flowing because it's not under sanction. And as my colleague from Repsol said, we cover more than about 50% of the electricity in the country. So that is essential to avoid any kind of problem, social problem. We own about 4 billion barrels of reserves, so a huge amount in the Orinoco Belt and in central Venezuela. We have now in the country 500 people, most Venezuelan, and we are ready to invest. Clearly, we are ready to invest. We thank you for the big efforts and the efficiency of your action, and we are here. And we are here to work together with the U.S. We are also a big investor in the U.S. So
I know that.
we thank you again, and we are there. And we are also ready to join with American companies in our assets to develop and go faster with good investors and good know-how from the U.S. company.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, Ross Perot, good to see you again. I'm chairman of Hillwood
Holy
and HK
cow,
Energy.
it's
I've been in the
going
energy
crazy long.
business 45 years, and we have been working with your team quite a bit. We have been in Kurdistan now for 19 years, along with Alex, and built a very good business. But now with your team, we're looking in Syria, we're now in Libya, and so we are very excited to look at Venezuela with you and your group, and look forward to continuing to build this great industry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for having us here today. Wael Salwan from Shell. Of course, we have a huge presence here in the U.S., in the Gulf, as well as in Pennsylvania with the petrochemical facility, which I think we had the opportunity to host you at, as well as being one of the largest LNG off-takers of American LNG. We have been in Venezuela for a very long time. We actually drilled in 1914 the first well that discovered oil in Venezuela, and on the back of which the entire energy industry was established in Venezuela. When we left in the 1970s because of nationalization, we had 1 million barrels per day of production. But we have kept boots on the ground in Venezuela all this time, and we now have a few $1 billion worth of opportunities to invest in, subject to OFAC approval. So we are ready to go and looking forward to the investments in support of the Venezuelan people.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ben Marshall, the America's CEO for Vitol. Alongside Trafigura, we're very thankful to have worked with the government and the Venezuelans to be able to bring the crude oil to market at a market price as quickly as we can to help stabilize the country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, they are
Brian
going
Lance,
all the
Conical
way
Phillips, I'll
around.
defer to my colleagues.
You know, Trump could still ask questions
Thank you,
after
Mr.
this. That's
President.
the crazy
Olivier
part.
Bosch, CEO of SLB, or formerly known as Schlumberger, the largest global oilfield services. We have been in Venezuela
maybe
since
someone's gonna, like, Bond
1930,
knows.
and we still operate.
Like,
we operate
fair
today
value
on the
fentanyl
ground with-
cocaine,
in support of Chevron.
I think is at
we
least
have
2
ability
cents.
to scale. We have 1,100
Maybe 5
Venezuelans in the
cents.
company, 2,000 additional that are calling us to go back to country and to go back to work. We're able to mobilize in the last 18 months 2 rigs and deliver 50 wells with success. So
Man,
we're here. We have
making me tired.
knowledge of the subsurface like nobody else has.
I
We
gotta
have
get
boots on
ready
the
for
ground,
college
capacity
football
on the
tonight.
ground, $700 million of equipment value on the ground in Venezuela, ready to mobilize for all of our partners, customers. So we are ready to scale fast, and we really want to thank the administration, Secretary Wright, Secretary Bergen, for the effort they are supporting and giving us to be successful on behalf of the Venezuelan oil and gas industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, check this out. They say the very best for last. And I don't have that sexy accent like this guy next to me here. Mr. President, my name's Bill Armstrong of Armstrong Oil and Gas. I'm a private independent guy. And in real estate, you were a wildcatter. So wear that motto proudly. But like you, I was my own guy. I don't have shareholders. I don't have private equity partners.
Another wildcatter here.
Drilling all over the place. In fact, I had the largest discovery in Alaska, biggest discovery in 50 years in our country. I now control 8 million acres adjacent to Venezuela, so I'm already heavily invested in the area. We share a 150
Should I become an
mile
oil
border
man?
with
Sounds like a
Venezuela
fun,
in the countries of Aruba
fun
and Curacao,
gig.
and we are ready to go to Venezuela. It is in real estate terms, it is prime real estate, and it's kind of like West Palm about 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Very right.
Yep, I agree with you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mom, Donnie in
So,
30 minutes? Are you
I
serious?
think what we're going to do is
I don't know if I can do it.
speak without the press to these gentlemen, see what kind of a deal we can make. We're going to get them involved. I'm going to ask Doug and Chris and some of the people that we have from the business standpoint representing our country to start talking about the confines of a deal. I have an idea what I want, what I think we should have. We have to get them to invest, and then we have to get their money back as quickly as we can, and then we can divvy it all up between Venezuela, the United States, and them. I think it's simple. I think the formula is simple. We start with a brand new plate, and it's going to be
wrapping
a
up.
tremendous success. I think it's going to be probably like few other things could ever be. There's so much. Venezuela's been really taken advantage of by a lot of people because they drill very little. I mean, as much as you hear they drill very, very little, very small percentage. But now that'll change, and it'll change very rapidly because these are the biggest people, and it'll change very rapidly. So if you don't mind, I'll ask the press to leave, and we will see what kind of a deal we're going to make with these geniuses, and I think you're going to come out very good. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Shoot, I missed someone's nose. Oh wait, he's still here.
Mr. President, I'm going to ask you if you would ask them to raise their hand if they would be going to Venezuela. If you want to ask the oil exec
Ah, I was ready for him to say a word during that last second. It was unbonded, then it went bonded again. This is News One Live channel. Okay, well, that was a successful Trump speech. You got pipeline no home? Good deal. We made about 800. I have like 7K tied up in shares that'll resolve at 98.99 or 99. Yeah, I am, Ivan. But nice, we just made like 800. Good Trump speech.